Morning, folks. It's a nice, cool, rainy morning here in North Carolina. I've got a tropical storm off the coast, so that's pushed a little rain and wind up here. I'm out here at the forge this morning, going to mess around a little bit. Been working on some orders, but it's time for another video. So I've got a piece of 3/16. I don't know, that's probably about 4 inches long, 2 inches wide. I'm going to stretch this out in the power hammer, go to the anvil. Let's see what we can make out of it. So here we go, starting out on the power hammer. I think I'm just going to demonstrate a little bit of different ways of drawing things out. Now, as you can see, that I'm using the width of the hammer dies. And as you can see, it's moving the steel, but it's very slow about moving it. Now, as that steel compresses laterally, it's also thickening, working both ends of the steel. But you can see with so much surface area of those hammer dies, you can see how slow it is about moving this steel. Now, that applies also to hammering on the anvil. So now we're going to go and run across the dies. So we have less surface area contacting the stock we're trying to move. And you can see that it's narrowing the steel and forging it out lengthwise. And it's doing it a little bit faster because we have less surface area. Now I'm going to use a piece of round stock as a fuller. And you can see how quickly that moves it. And you can use the corners of your anvil. You can use a piece of round stock. You can use a fullering tool, whatever, just to increase the surface area when you're drawing things out. And you can see how quickly just that one pass with that piece of round stock acting as a fullering tool drew that steel out. Drew it down for width, drew it out for length. So I'm just going to even the width up. Now I'm going to run across the dies on the power hammer, and this could be done on the anvil. I'm going to run across the dies with the power hammer and just thin the steel down. Get it down to a uniform thickness and a fairly uniform width. And we started out with 4 inches by 2 inches of stock, and now we're out to about 7.5. About 7.5, 7.25 worth of stock. So we're ready to go to the anvil and start working out the rest of this blade. As always, I'm going to draw down the point to start. Being careful so I don't end up with a fish mouth on the tip, which will definitely make a cold shut and a crack in the tip. Work that point down a little bit for thickness. Get it a little more slope to it, smooth it out a bit. And we're at about 7.5 now. Mark where the heel of the blade's going to be. There we go. Now let's go ahead and hammer in here so I can work on the blade, and we'll finish up with the handle. We'll work on the blade first. But still not much over 7.5 at this point. Just even things up. Now you can see I'm using the corner of the anvil as a fuller and drawing that blade out for length. And also drawing in some distal taper. Distal taper being a natural taper from the heel of the blade out toward the tip. The natural thinning of the blade. All right, almost ready to start hammering in the bevels. And we're over 8 inches right here. And here I start with the bevel, and well, that's a mistake. I should have bent that blade into a reverse curve, bending from the spine back toward the edge. But too late now, so we'll just go with it. I just have to straighten it up a bit as I go along. Still working in the bevels with the big hammer. Get out the little hammer and start working the bevels and planishing out the hammer marks. Yeah, I'm going to have to go in there and reshape this profile a little bit. I really made a mistake when I didn't put that reverse curve in. Just work it along the edge a little bit. Straighten up the profile. It's going to be a little better. Still work those hammer marks out, get everything straight. Dress the edge one more time. I believe that's pretty close. Now we'll start working on the handle. Knock the handle down just a little bit. Now I'm going to take a cross peen hammer and I'm going to spread out the back end of the handle. I want that flare on the back end just to add some profile, add some contour to the profile. It'll make the knife much easier to hold. Now we'll draw that down for length and thickness. Just going to lengthen it a little bit, put in a little distal taper, and give us a little bit wider handle, which is what we wanted. Enough width to put a little profile, a little contour into the profile of this handle. Got it pretty close. Take the small hammer and take out all the hammer marks. Or most of the hammer marks. Make sure everything's nice and flat, regular. Do need to forge in here just a little bit. Yeah, that's better. Well, make sure everything's straight. Most of the hammer marks are out. And I've got 9 inches. All right, there we go. Took it inside, cleaned it up on the grinder a little bit, just cleaned the profile up. So it's ready for heat treat. Not a gigantic knife. It's 8 3/4 inches overall. Kind of small, lightweight, just right to hang on the belt. Using the woods. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure and hit that like button. Be sure and subscribe for future content. Leave us a comment in the comment section. God bless and have a great day.